In case you missed it, here's a Sports Animal Rewind.
We bring in friend of the show from 24/7 Sports, does a great job, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Barton Simmons joining us here on the new Sentinel Sports page. Hey, Barton, Vince, and Mike. How you been, Barton?
Hey, guys. Doing good. How y'all?
Good. Well, first of all, big picture for Tennessee. I mean, Tennessee's been up there top 3 in the team rankings right now. Second only, I think, to Texas at last check in total number of commits. From your vantage point, talk about the job that Tennessee, Butch Jones, has done in the 2014 class.
Yeah, outstanding job, and really, I mean, exactly what you needed, exactly, in some ways, what you expected. I don't know that we would have expected them to have this many commits this early, or to be number 3 nationally, number 2 in the SEC, but we knew they would start off strong, and I think Butch Jones has sort of exceeded expectations in that regard, especially with landing commits like Jalen Hurd and Todd Kelly, 2 of the best at their position in the country, 2 of the best in the state of Tennessee. So that really got the ball rolling early, and I think what's exciting if you're a Tennessee fan about this group they've been able to put together is it doesn't look like it's ready to slow down anytime soon. There's a lot of guys out there that Tennessee's in very good shape with, guys that seem to be kind of on the verge of pulling the trigger. And when you throw that in the mix as far as adding that to what they've already been able to accomplish, I think you got to be really happy. It's almost like with Tennessee, the worst thing that could happen would be the season starts, because there's still a lot of uncertainty, I think, on the field. But when you're just kind of pitching the promise of the future for this staff, they're doing an outstanding job of selling and closing the deal on these recruits.
Barton, are some of these guys out there that Tennessee's in good shape with that might be pulling the trigger at some point? Are any of them defensive linemen? Because when I look at this list, that's what's missing to me. Yeah,
I mean, I think that one guy in particular, and I wouldn't go so far as to say he's poised to pull the trigger, but a guy that Tennessee's certainly right there in the mix with and in good shape with is Derek Barnett out of Nashville. He's looking at Vanderbilt as well. He's gotten a Texas A&M offer. He's hoping for an Ohio State offer, so that is one that's kind of could throw a kink into things. But I do think Tennessee's in good shape there. A big defensive lineman from West Tennessee named Charles Mosley had been a big fan of Alabama for a long time and looked like all but a done deal to Alabama. But Tennessee has really made some headway there. I mean, this is one of these 6'4", 360-pound, zero technique type guys that's just a beast in the middle. And Tennessee's really made some headway there, put an emphasis on him, and tried to steer him back into the fold, and I think he's been pretty receptive to that. So there are a few guys out there. Definitely the skill positions are where they seem to be in the best shape right now, particularly when you sell them that offense and that wide open spread attack. But definitely some really good guys in the trenches still out there that Tennessee's got a great shot with.
Talking recruiting with Barton Simmons from 24/7 Sports. Part of the 24/7 Sports Network includes GoVols247.com. We talk to Ryan Callahan each week here on the show. Barton, what about Trevante Valentine? I know the Crystal Ball has Florida as the pick there, the Bayside Palm Bay, Florida defensive tackle. Tennessee, any shot at him down the stretch, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that certainly there's an opportunity there. I think that they've got a shot. I think that staying in state is probably the best pick there if you're going sort of for the safe bet. In fact, I've actually been told that Miami could be the team to beat. But if you look at the crystal ball there, 33% Florida, 33% Florida State, 33% Miami, and I'm the Miami pick within that mix. So, but I think that tells you there's some uncertainty as well. And Tennessee has an opportunity, and I think he's one of those guys. Probably the longer he waits, the better off Tennessee is, because any early pull of the trigger oftentimes favors the more local programs.
We get asked about Kevin Muhan from Norcross, Georgia, the inside linebacker. Where do you think Tennessee is in the mix for him?
I think that they've got a pretty good opportunity there. That's a guy I do think that, he's right from across the border. He's an area that Tennessee has recruited pretty well. I think that they've got a really good shot there with Kevin Muhan. And he's a guy that you'd love to get in with, due to his teammate as well, Lorenzo Carter. Not sure they have as good of an opportunity there, but Kevin Muhan, I think Tennessee has got probably as good a shot as anybody. And I've seen this kid play in person. Really athletic guy, extremely explosive, always around the football. And talk about guys that are close to pulling the trigger. That's probably a guy you throw in the mix there, as kind of a guy that could be on the verge.
Let me switch to a quarterback, Barker. I'm not sure about the first name. Is it Drew Barker, the quarterback up in Northern Kentucky?
He's out of Eastern Kentucky, and he is a guy Tennessee has been in the mix with for a while. His commitment really could be coming any day, but I think it's South Carolina is where he's headed. Kentucky, the in-state program, has made a really strong late push. He had a really good visit there recently. To me, Tennessee's probably on the outside looking in for Drew Barker, and I'd be a little bit surprised if he doesn't end up a Gamecock, and again, it could be within the next couple of days.
So it's, I guess, this chance to play for Steve Spurrier is pretty appealing for a quarterback then, I guess.
Yeah, and these days, the Spurrier likes those athletic guys, and Drew's got some ability to run as well, so they've done a really good job recruiting him.
Barton Simmons from 24/7 Sports joining us. You mentioned Lorenzo Carter, who's Kevin Muhan's teammate, and that might be a little bit of a long shot. Lorenzo Carter is a 5-star. Any of the other 5-stars that Tennessee has offered and at least is on the radar for, whether it's Leonard Fournette from New Orleans or Adoree Jackson from Gardenia, California, any shot at those 5-stars?
Well, those guys would be tough to pull, particularly, Leonard Fournette. You're going to have a hard time getting him out of the hands of LSU.
Yep.
If he doesn't pick LSU, Alabama's done a heck of a job. A lot of the 5-star guys in this class have some natural pull, some natural ties to to one program or another. Whether it be Louisiana guys who's just so hard to get out of state, whether it be like a guy like Marlon Humphrey, who's got family ties to the Alabama program. If you're looking for a guy that Tennessee has an opportunity with, and I don't think necessarily they've got a great shot at any of the 5-stars, save for maybe David Cornwell. I mean, I think Alabama's the team to beat there at the quarterback position, but he has toyed with this in Tennessee, and I think they're in the hunt. But Adoree Jackson, and I think he probably stays out at USC, but he's from Illinois. He's a California kid, obviously. Maybe they can get him in for a visit. Again, I wouldn't put my neck out there and predict any other 5-star at this point picking Tennessee, but with the way the staff is recruiting, the momentum Tennessee's been building, you never know who they're going to be able to make inroads with.
Barton, let's talk about a couple of offensive linemen starting there in your backyard in Nashville, Montgomery Bell Academy. Alex Bars, where's Tennessee in his recruitment?
I think it's going to be hard to keep him out of the Midwest. I think Alex is inclined to head up to Michigan or Notre Dame. His brother plays in Michigan. His father played at Notre Dame. Stanford is working hard to get him out for a visit this summer, and they may have a shot if they do. But I think all the southeastern programs and the in-state programs are probably on the outside looking in right now. And Alex, he plays his cards pretty close to his vest, but from sort of the tea leaves I've been able to read, I think it's unlikely he stays in state.
There's not many offensive linemen that 24/7 lists Tennessee being warm with. Is that an area that, like the defensive line, they have some catching up to do?
Well, it may be, and that is certainly a position that you kind of have to recruit every year. What's interesting to me is they've already made some good inroads in the 2015 class. They handed out an offer yesterday to a guy named Jack Jones out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Really talented offensive tackle out of Oakland High School. And he could be tempted to commit. He could be tempted to commit early in the 2015 class, be that number 3 commitment in that group. But no, I mean, I think that you're right. I mean, when you look at the guys that really have made seem to be favoring Tennessee the most, we're getting a lot of defensive backs, a lot of safety type bodies, a lot of skilled guys, a couple D linemen here and there, but don't see a lot of offensive linemen, and that may be, others may be more familiar with Tennessee's numbers right now as far as what they're shooting for from a numbers position, and maybe offensive line isn't as much of an emphasis, but certainly that is not a position that is, has as many guys kind of chopping at the bit right now.
We get Barton Simmons from 24/7 Sports joining us, talking Tennessee football recruiting. We get asked about Damari Kitt all the time from Tyrone, Georgia. How good a position is Tennessee for Damari Kitt?
I think that Tennessee's in a pretty good position right now. He was a kid that at one point, looked like he may be staying in state. I think right now Clemson, Ohio State have also both really kind of put a strong push on. If you look at his crystal ball on 24/7 Sports, the majority of our analysts have him predicted to Clemson, with one having him predicted to Ohio State. But I do think that Tennessee very much in the mix, very much in play there. I don't think that those are strong confidence levels necessarily. I don't think it's a given that he's heading to Clemson. I think that you got to put Tennessee right there in the hunt with Clemson and the Buckeyes, and he's been a guy, one of the more polished wide receivers in this 2014 class, particularly in the Southeast. 4-star kid with some size and some ability to really cut you up running routes, and I think he's a kid that probably could see his commitments at some point this summer. So I definitely got to keep your eye on.
Barton, another player that gets asked about a lot is Jalen Tabor, the cornerback from Washington, D.C. Very high 4-star, and I think a 5-star on the composite. Talk about Tennessee for Jalen Tabor.
Well, certainly a good opportunity for Tennessee after getting DeAndre Payne, his teammate, D.C. cornerback, and that's always nice to have a friendly face in the fold, and that's plays well for Tennessee, obviously. He's got all the big dogs after him, though. Alabama, Florida, Florida State. He's also got the local program of Maryland with Mike Loxley recruiting him there. So, there's a lot of fish in the water there. I don't think he's going to have a decision anytime soon. I think Florida could be the team to beat there. He really likes Florida State as well. They've done a good job in the D.C. area in the past, and so they've kind of built a pipeline up there. So that's one that's tough to call right now. And again, with as many sort of big fish hunting him down, that's going to be a tough one to pick for Tennessee right now. But we'll have to sort of wait and see how that progresses over the summer and certainly into the fall.
Barton, just last couple things with you. I want to get your thoughts on a couple of the more recent verbal commits for Tennessee and what you think about them. Camille Jackson, the wide receiver from Blinn Community College. What do you think about him?
Well, I hadn't seen him in JUCO, but certainly saw him coming out of high school when he committed to Oklahoma, and really liked him at that point. Think he's a really solid pickup. A kid that's got some polish at the wide receiver position, has some explosiveness. This is one of those guys I think can come in, step onto the football field, and be a really productive target in that Tennessee offense. So, he's a guy that I think you'll see early on. I think you'll see him be productive, and I think he's got a chance to make a lot of catches in Knoxville.
What about Daniel Helm, the tight end from Illinois?
Interesting to watch how the tight end situation play out. After Jeff Blazevich committed to Georgia, about 3 different tight ends committed over the course of 24 hours, and Daniel was one of them. And, that's a guy Tennessee I know is really high on, really kind of polished pass catcher. He's 6'4", he's 220 pounds. He is a guy that can get out, flex him out, get upfield, stretch the field, and make some plays. Against some smaller defenders. So he's a tough matchup because of his athleticism and I think it's been clear to me that tight end's been a major priority for this staff since they've gotten on board. And with Daniel Helm in the fold, and we could see Nico Creamer as a tight end as well. Ethan Wolf, the kid from Ohio, another 6'6" body. I mean, that's three big pass catchers right there, and clearly the Tennessee staff is anxious to use them.
And last one, your thoughts on the latest verbal commit, the 12th for Tennessee in the 2014 class, Orlando Brown, the offensive tackle from Sewanee, Georgia.
Boy, a massive kid, massive guy, and my take on Orlando is you may not see him on the field for a couple years, and he's not a great offensive tackle right now, but he's the type of kid that you really feel good about him playing in the NFL someday. I mean, as soon as he pulls it together, as soon as he, really grows fully into his body and gets fully coordinated and works on his feet and those sort of things, I think he's an NFL offensive tackle. I feel pretty confident in that. And so I think Tennessee's getting a big-time kid with great pedigree. His father's a guy that played a lot of years in the NFL. And this is a kid I think that really when you talk about SEC bodies and guys that you need up front, you need guys this size in the conference like that, and I think Orlando Brown is a guy that, maybe his sophomore year steps on the field and really starts to blossom into something special.
Gotta love the info and the insight. Barton Simmons, you can follow him on Twitter. It's at Barton Simmons on Twitter, at 247 Sports. Follow him on Twitter. And just an amazing amount of information on the always growing 24/7 Sports Network. Barton, always great to visit with you. We appreciate you, and we'll talk to you real soon.